Evenings of Dance is the culmination of our whole year of classes and performances.
Choreographing has been a really big passion of mine, so yeah, getting to explore that in college has been really great.
I mean, it's kind of always been part of my life.
That's kind of my favorite part because it's when everyone has already put something like from themselves and I can see like the connections between them. That's kind of like what I enjoy the most.
So the 3 student pieces that we selected by Mariela Hernandez, Brady, and Charest were taken from the dance composition class, which ended in December. And at the end of that class, we have a fully produced concert in the Howell Theater in the Temple Building. And from there, the faculty all sort of get together and decide which pieces we think have the most resonance, like they're the most complete. We can see sort of the progression of not only the final product, but the work that went into it. We chose 3 pieces that we felt represented the dance program in kind of its breadth. Abby and Katie's pieces were were kind of dancey and technical and had that kind of just a dance vibe, which sounds so vague, but it really is a beautiful vibe that they had. And Mariela's piece was very process-oriented. It wasn't a piece that you would think like, oh, this is a dancey piece. This is a piece that had people drawn in, and it was emotional, and it was sort of progressing in a way that was a little unusual. And so we just felt we wanted to have an example of that kind of work in our concert.
Well, I'm a process person based in the arts. So for me, the priority is in the process. I believe that the transformation, the learning, the biggest things happen during the creative process. So for me, I spend most of my time focused on that. And for this piece in particular, our where, everything started with a question, and the question was, where is home? So since we have like 11 dancers at the beginning, I wanted to explore what does that mean for them? What was the meaning of home? That was like the first layer. In the second layer, we start to find common themes or topics or divergence about it. And then we start to do embodiment of those like concepts.
So I wanted to do something that really encapsulated my experience throughout my 4 years here in Nebraska. And I felt like I've always experienced juggling a lot of different things and not knowing how to prioritize just one thing. So I wanted to do a piece that felt true to that. So I called it Chasing the Present to symbolize not looking back at what I've done in the past and not getting too stuck in what I'm gonna do in the future, but enjoying the right now so that it doesn't pass me by. It's kind of the theme of this year. But yeah, I gleaned a lot from my dancers and their experiences too about how they're trying to stay in the moment and how they're trying to prioritize living in right now.
So my piece was called It Happened to You. And the basic gist of it is it's about grief. It's just kind of a look at like the process of grief and how sometimes you can't tell someone's grieving, and we all grieve in different ways, and that's okay. My piece has 3 different sets of music in it. So it starts with these like church bells, and I just kind of felt like it was that feeling of it dawning on you almost. And there's a motif of heel drops throughout the whole thing. And it's the same dancer that starts the heel drops, does them in the middle, and ends with the heel drops alone on stage. Grief can surprise you, and like I said, it doesn't look the same for anyone. So it just kind of shows the different emotions that can come with it and how it can be so different. And then it kind of concludes with the same church bells and heel drops, kind of like a full circle moment, and that you're progressing on with it. So it's definitely different between studio and UNL. It's just a different process, different type of dance. I still choreograph for my studio now, and that's more, I feel like, focused on fitting it in 2 minutes. There's not a lot of, especially since I'm from Kansas, so I go and set these pieces and then come back to Nebraska and I don't work with them, another teacher does. So it's less about kind of formulating the creative process and creating something over time, and more about just putting the competition piece together, putting in the tricks, getting all that in there. Bing, bang, boom, done.
I've been dancing since I was 2. I've been choreographing since probably my junior year of high school, and I'm a senior in college now, so it's been a bit of time. I think in high school I did more competitive dance, so it was more centered around tricks and skills and things like that, and less of the meaning, more of what I could convey with those things. And now in college, I look a lot more at how I can convey my purpose and like what I want the audience to feel, so I don't spell it out for them. I think I've grown a lot in leaning on my dancers. I think I used to think that I had to come all prepared and have everything all mapped out, but I feel I do my best work when I kind of have a concept or an idea, and then I kind of put it on them and see how they feel with it.
When everyone has already put something like from themselves, and I can see like the connections between them, that's kind of like what I enjoy the most. I guess that I have this tendency to, at the end, create a narrative. Even though that was my main complaint when I was studying theater. I was like, I hate like lineal storytelling, like I don't like it, let's break it. And then when I'm building choreography, I found myself like trying to connect narratives or just one to make some sense of everything that is happening. I studied theater like when I was in Mexico. So when I graduated as a stage director, so when we envision like a proposal, we have to present it complete with everything, even with the design for the lighting and for everything, right? So when the first time that I was working here with someone, I was like, but the concept, but, and then we were like, hey, hold on, like this is their thing. They have to develop the concept. And I was like, what? But I'm directing this piece. So I don't know, I think for this second time, I feel more confident like about the collaboration, and I learn how to delegate that part to the lighting designer.
One of the things I really love about being part of a fine and performing arts college is that I have colleagues in music and theater and art, of course. And for the last, I can't even remember how many years, we've had the opportunity to collaborate, in particular with the lighting design faculty, Michelle Harvey and her students. You know, in dance, we don't often have like set design or things like that. The lights are really what enhance the watching of the bodies in space, and Michelle's students are really on board. This year, for the first time, they really managed the entire lighting process. They went into the lead center, they set the grid, which is how the lights are gonna look for the entire run of the show, and then various students worked with other students or other guest artists to create the lighting design for the individual pieces.
I mean, at my studio back home growing up, it was kind of just like you had the dance and you went to competition and there's lights on the stage and music, but there was kind of no really like collaboration, and like sometimes they put like fun lights for recital, but it was never a collaborative effort, I guess. Did sometimes ask you what color you wanted. But here it's really unique. I feel like you kind of get a taste of what it's like to be in a professional setting.
It's been really cool. Like I said, I choreographed a lot growing up, but we didn't have a lot of lighting designers, kind of just the blatant like one light. But yeah, working with a lighting designer was really cool because I would just kind of give them what my vision was, show them the piece, and then they just kind of ran with it and made it just even more beautiful. So getting to see those the first time and see my piece in that new light was really beautiful and striking. I had no notes pretty much every time. I just feel like dance is my area, and then I give them my piece of that, and then they take it and just enhance it.
Throughout the year for our dance composition class, we meet with our lighting designers and kind of go over our feel for the piece. My lighting designer this year was amazing, Kenzie, shout out. She had like a whole mood board for me and was like, this is what I'm feeling for your piece. Yes, no, do you like it? And I was like, it's great. We kind of had this collaborative conversation. I was like, it's kind of fun because you get to choreograph with lighting in mind. And there were some parts where I was like, this is what I want a spotlight here. And it shifts your whole piece. I've seen my piece performed, no lighting. I've seen my piece performed on a stage and here. So it's kind of interesting how that transforms the piece in a way. And I feel like it just adds such a beautiful element that you don't exactly get when it's just regular lighting.
Definitely, I feel with more confidence to say I consider we need less in here, or to ask, why are you proposing this instead a different thing? For me, this part about meaning like of each detail that is on the stage matters. And the same go for the lighting. It's not only about being able to see the performers, but also what is the narrative that we are presented, if we have one.
I think that having the opportunity to be produced, to make their work for this concert, to go through the whole rehearsal process, to deal with the photographers, I mean, there's so many facets. I think it really helps them to envision a life in dance and also be successful at a life outside of dance if that's where their passions take them.
I feel like choreography, just in general, kind of gives me a way to like a frame to see the world that's very different and very unique to dancers, I think, because you're just looking not at the full picture itself always, but how the pieces all come together to make it that picture and what their role is in that. So I think it helps me navigate what my role is in whatever field I'm going into going forward, and what part I play in my friendships and my relationships and work and things like that.
It develops a sense of responsibility, but also a sense of belonging. And me crying. Yeah, I mean, when we start like to prepare of projects for a student dance project, we are mostly focused in defining what are we doing, right? But the more time that you spend with the people, the stronger that the community bonding became. And I feel that having this opportunity to move a piece forward is an opportunity to meet the people in a better way that we usually don't have because we are running from one place to another. I guess that something that I am really grateful for is having that extra time to meet like the people who I'm working with. And it also helped me to explore with more confidence, because everyone like start to be like to propose things that also they want to do, and that give me life. It's like, yes, we're going into the correct direction. So I feel we gain really, like we gain time, we gain space, and that's something that we cannot change for anything else, I guess.
I've met a community of people that love and support me, which I think is so big in college, and you need that, especially being out of state. I didn't know a lot of people here coming here, so finding that community has been so important. All of my dancers were really close in my piece, so it was kind of like one last time for them to all dance together. So I was like, just go out there, do it for yourself. It was almost like in that moment, they were grieving the loss of the seniors leaving them, because it's just kind of a sad time of year that all of our friends are leaving. So I was like, go out there, do it for yourself. Don't worry about the audience, people adjudicating you. Just go out there and feel the piece. But I know dance will always be part of my life, no matter if I'm teaching, choreographing, owning a studio, whatever. So I definitely plan to always keep it in my life.
There is nothing really more delicious than seeing the evenings of dance produced, seeing everybody leaving all of themselves on that dance floor for the last audience who sees the show. And it was a great year this year. Next year is going to be a great year again. And I'm just so thrilled that our students have the opportunity to be in evenings of dance every single year.